All right, so to be a landlord class, to be the elite, you have to do terrible things. But it's actually hard to do terrible things. All right, so let me give you an example. Let's just say, I would say to you, all right, I'm gonna give you 10 million US dollars. But what you need to do is this. What you need to do is take a gun and late at night, go kill a random stranger. You think, wow, that's a really good deal. If I kill a random stranger late at night, no one's gonna know I did it, and I walk away with $10 million. And you think that I can do it, but guess what? When I actually make you go do it, you actually can't do it. Because there are lots of restrictions on your behavior, okay? So think of suicide. If I gave you $100 million and promised you a path to heaven, would you kill yourself? Probably not, okay? So suicide, killing yourself, in many ways, it's no different from killing someone else. We can't do it, okay? But there are actually hacks around this. We figured out ways to make you go kill someone in a way that doesn't make you feel that guilty about it, okay? So to understand why, I will introduce you 2 social science experiments that they conducted in America at the end of the 20th century, okay? The first is something called the Milgram experiment. And this was done at Yale by a psychologist named Stanley Milgram. And the experiment was very simple. What he would do is he would set up an actor, okay, this is an actor, okay, or what we call Confederate. And the person would be hooked up to an electric chair, right? And there'll be a buzzer which increases the voltage in that electric chair, okay? And there's like a max and there's a min, okay? And Stanley Milgram would be here in his lab coat, and he would invite a participant, okay, who's essentially a student, to come and be an assistant, okay? And the assistant's job was to press the button. And Stanley Milgram wanted to know, first of all, would this volunteer, this assistant, agree to shock another human being, even though he's seen the human being in pain? And second of all, Stanley Milgram wanted to see how much pain the volunteer was willing to inflict. And it turned out that with the idea of authority, okay, people are much more willing to let go of their inhibitions. Because what you're doing is you are removing responsibility from yourself to someone else. I didn't do it, I was ordered to do it. And surprisingly, people are willing to inflict a lot of pain on other people because they are able to remove responsibility for their individual actions, okay? Does that make sense? So the point of secret society is for people to come together and avoid taking responsibility for their actions. How? By praying to another god, right? By saying, we didn't do this, we didn't go start this war, we didn't destroy the economy, it was Satan that told us to do it. We had a meeting with Satan, we did the rituals, we summoned Satan, and Satan says, for the good of the world, you must be evil. You must go and start this war so that we can create paradise on earth. It wasn't us, it was not us, it was Satan who did this, okay? That's the point of secret society. To force yourself to believe that you have no agency in this world. And you are controlled by Satan, okay, or another god, Saturn. Okay, so it's very common for these secret societies to believe in a god called Saturn. Who is Saturn? Saturn, the Greek is Cronus. And Cronus is a god of time. Cronus is a god of time and order and structure. And Cronus will do things that were unconscionable, that were inhumane in order to maintain control of the world, including in his own children. Because then his children cannot rebel against him, okay? So they pray to Saturn to look for that divine energy in order to maintain order and control in the world for the good of others, okay? Not for the good of me, but for the good of others. Does that make sense? Okay, that's the first idea I need you to understand about these secret societies. They always pray to a higher God. They believe in interdimensional lizard people, or they believe in Satan, or they believe in Saturn. Who cares, okay? But they don't feel as though they're in control. They feel as though they're possessed by demons or by extraterrestrials, okay? And why? In order to do what they must to maintain their power and their wealth. Okay, that's number one. Number two is this. Another experiment that you guys might have heard of, something called the Solomon-Asch experiment. Okay. And here, the experiment is 10 people in a room. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? And they all sit together. And they're just asked to tell me if this is a straight line or a circle. Okay? It's that simple. Then what happens is a volunteer is asked to come into the room, okay? And this volunteer goes last. And everyone around the room goes and tells the answer, okay? And from 1 to 10, okay, and these are all Confederates, okay? These are all part of the conspiracy. From 1 to 10, they all say this is a circle. And so by the time you get to the volunteer, who's number 11, he's like, what should I say? And often, a lot of times is, he'll say, it's a circle, because he's trying to conform to the group. But not only that, afterwards, when he's told that, oh, there's actually a line, he's actually convinced he saw a circle. Okay? That's the power of group conformity. Okay? So two ideas, authority and conformity is what underlies the power of secret societies. And as such, you are now, because you are part of the society, you now have the power to take a gun, go kill someone late at night, and collect your $10 million. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? All right. And again, every society does this, because often when you're part of the landlord class, the elite, the transnational capitalists, you have to do things against your own wiring, okay? Your own psychology. And that's why secret societies exist. All right,